Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centers. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.
Welcome everyone to the 314th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, February 6, 2020. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond. I'm one of the hosts today along with Flint Mulhausen. And as usual, we are joined with Mr. Mayran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation. And I believe he's ready to go with today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you there?
Yes, good morning to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this teachings of Knowledge Seekers series. As usual, we're back again, 314. We are nearly completing our 6 years. I think it's sometime this week, next week. And we go into the dimensions of understanding more and more the technology and understanding what this technology is going to bring us as we enter 2020, as we call it. And as we head towards the space technology, there is a part of the technology which has to be understood And this brings back the work of the foundation in a new dimension. This dimension is very important. This understanding is very important. And it brings us to the next stage of what we call zero-time communication, zero-time transportation. And we're going into this direction to understand more, to be able to prepare the next steps in space technology. What is not considered, and this technology, if understood, can be used for many, many other applications, is that we have come to a stage that we have to understand the process of the plasma technology. The process of transportation in plasma technology. The process of locating and location in plasma technology. The process of creation of the condition for manifestation or representation or communication in the plasma technology. I touched on this in the past couple of weeks very softly. And now we are going into the steps of understanding in more depth and trying to understand what this means. Just before the discussion, before we start, we had Dr. Azar saying that they can make an app and then people can read it and they recover from the virus. We see a lot of this running around at this moment because everybody is trying to do something. It has become a world panic according to how much the panic is hyped up. We're all afraid that we might get this new virus. We all are moving, closing borders, closing countries. But what about if this virus opens to humanity from deeper space? What about the new viruses, which we do not know, enters our cycle? As I said in a talk to world leading scientists very recently, mankind has been in a bottle jam jar, closed. When you make a jam, if you made it good, nothing happens. But if you didn't look after it, contamination comes in and it rots within or stays clean. This has been the life of mankind on this planet. Closed jam jar. Now, in fact, we're taking this jar open. We're taking man into space. We entering a new dimension of understanding. Now, anything can come in. New diseases which we don't have even words for in our vocabulary. New conditions that can exchange our energy levels into a different dimension. New structures which we have no control over, as our knowledge is so weak in the totality of the construction of the universe. Mankind has to move to the next step of understanding the totality. What's within and what is outside. And understand the process of transfer and communication between one plasma to another. Be it information, be it communication, be it transportation, be it viruses, be it anything. This is why now we see so much problem, as we run from one thing to another, to another, to another, from bacteria to microbes to food to anything else, and the viruses and other words which we will make in the future. The reason is that we have not understood the principle. We have not comprehended that the process is the same, does not matter where and how it occurs. Part of the teaching today is this. Part of the work from now on is this, to understand the work of the plasma. In a way, we go back to book number 3. Book number 3 is the creation of the man, creation of the universe, creation of the cell, creation of the matter. It just depends what you put in the formula of writing, of understanding the truth. One of the most strangest for a lot of us will be, is if in time to come, I sit you as a soul in this part of the universe, and I sit the soul of your child in another, and the soul of your friend there, and a family here, and each one of them is in one galaxy, maybe in a different part of the universe, maybe in different unicorns. How do you communicate? Are we going with a fantasy talk of Einstein light years? Or are we going in with the realities of the transportation, transmutation of the fields in the real dimension of the Creator? Would you spend from one galaxy to another to see your child 100,000 light years, as Mr. Einstein said, through his lack of understanding? Or are we going to stay to meet each other through the soul of each other, through our great, 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 great grandchildren, in what is said by the great, great grandfather to the son? The world of science has accepted many fantasies, and many dreams, and many, many incompetent people like Einstein have made it more difficult for the true science to be understood. If you understood and you can see, if you can envisage, if you can reach the point of maturity, if you look at, let's say, Earth, every second, every millisecond, every constant of its time of existence in the solar system continuously considers the position of every moon, every planet, every star in the galaxy in respect to the position of itself into its sun. There is no one sitting in the center of the earth with the central control. Moon has moved a few milliseconds, few millimeters, and now we have to adjust. If you look in the structure of the Earth in respect to its sun, in respect to other planetary system. Continuous string fields positioning gives it where and how it can interact with whatever. And simultaneously, instantaneously, a new position for this planet is considered. Not by control system, but by transmutation and transportation of the elements in the strength of the field of the plasma. If we look, for example, in the winter time on this planet, we have a production of different fruits, different conditions of environment, because at this point, all the time, every year, every position, does not matter, Mars moves to a new position and Venus goes to another, it creates its own condition to create that material according to the control of itself in the balance of the fields of its own central gravitational magnetic field force. But we say things have changed this year, things have changed. Last year used to be more snow, and before we had everything else, and blah, blah, blah. In reality, those are the interactions of the other systems on it. But it's instantaneous. Is position understanding of its own field strength. In communication and in line with every single element, instantaneously. So if we look at the life on the spaceship we call planet Earth, we have already been living in an instantaneous communication, zero time. We don't need to look far to understand it. We live in an instantaneous zero time communication between planets. We live in the instantaneous simultaneous time, zero time in energy transfer. Because the energy given by one of these fields dictates where the position of the Earth is going to be in respect to it and the other respect. Because my position as, let's say, Jupiter is for you, Earth, to move slightly that way that I can keep my path of work. Earth accommodates instantaneously. Sun holds and vibrates. In the future, when mankind understands one thing, you will see the sun is not steady. The sun moves in different axes in a massive volume. It's not that the sun is constant position. Its dimension of rotation is millions of kilometers. It vibrates. If you look at the solar system and the sun in the center, this thing moves quite a lot. It's literally what I call in some of the teaching, it's like the gymnast on the string, on the rope, balancing itself. The rope is a guideline, but the dancer on the rope vibrates to keep its balance. And this is exactly how our sun behaves in the solar system of its own in respect to the fields from galaxies and other stars and bigger forces. And at the same time, in respect, trying to keep the Earth in its position that it doesn't fall in. Therefore, if we understand this, mankind comes to understand, he is already part of the zero-time communication, zero-time energy, zero-time transportation. Because our own solar system itself, it has to accommodate itself into the field forces of the galaxy and all the stars in it. And not only that, its field forces to exist, confirm its existence, pushes the other solar systems to accommodate it, even though they all work towards the direction of the central point of the galaxy. Then we come to understand, we as part of the human race, as part of this structure, on these little tiny things with our soul, we are subject to the same thing. But in the dimension of the man, we consider it as what we call dancing on that rope. As a balancer gymnast, we call it emotion. Our balances is our emotion. Emotion is built in the body of the man to be able to, without falling off the rope, balance it. Feel happy, go this way a little bit, sad a little bit that way, but still stay alive on the rope. You don't fall off. If you fall off, you call it dead body. Then we understand death is the collection of the balance of the emotion of the man in transferring energy of the soul of physicality to the soul of the man. Then we understand why infants at the point of birth die. Then we understand why some of us live hundreds of years and still survive and live. Then we understand we are nothing but bunch of what are called acrobats. But the balance of acrobat comes through the emotion. Comes through the understanding of how I want to live, and I interact instantaneously. And in that position, so is the field of the body, the soul of the man, in respect to the soul of the every other thing, and in respect to the soul of the planet, the universe, and the rest of it. If you look at it, it's very simple. We are bunch of acrobats on a bigger size of a scale of the field strength, starting from man to the planet, to the star, to the galaxy, to the universe, to the creator. Even he has to play acrobat to keep you in the position. So if we understand this, it's very simple. We are already in position of zero-time communication and transportation with every structure in the process of the creation, even to the creator. Then the knowledge of man comes in one reality, to find which field which comes from the soul of the man connects to which one. So we will understand we even have a direct access to the soul of our creator. But we have to find the fields of it. We have to find the strength of it. Then we understand in so many ways how we can create the conditions of, without any systems, without any machines, to be able to transport our emotion, our energy, our communication to anywhere across the world of creation. This brings us to another point of understanding, and that is, we have understood none of it. In fact, we have understood zero of it, zilch. With all our cleverness, we have dug ourselves deeper in the sand of ignorance than in the mountain of knowledge. With these teachings from today on, with these teachings which we have started years ago, is to bring man to this point, to bring the understanding of the man and the soul of the man to this point. But as I said many times, in Farsi we have a beautiful say. It takes 40 intelligent men to take a stone out of the water well which one crazy stupid man has dropped in, that has blocked the water for the rest to enjoy. And we have many, many of these stupid people in the cycle of the science of the man, like Einstein, Stephen Hawking. These are the present people who brought this. In the past, in the United States, we've seen people very much like Edison is another one. They brought a lot of things to satisfy their ego or brings other things into. If you read the history of the man, this has been so for many years. We saw many people who could understand the science have been eliminated for those who want to control man through science. Then we understand it's us who allow these incompetent people to dictate to us and condition our understanding of the world of creation. Total world of creation is not what we've been forced, is what we can feel. The best peer reviewer, the best understanding of the knowledge of creation is the soul of the man himself. Because it's it that it dictates the existence of the man on this dimension of physicality and beyond. So it has a lot of intelligence. We have become that young child in the house of all doctors, and he wants to teach everyone the medicine with the zero understanding of even the creation. The process of the teaching, in a very mild way, in respect to zero-time communication, in respect to zero-time energy transfer, in respect to zero-time transportation, has to be learned from the structure of the soul of the man, the structure of the planet, the structure of the sun, the structure of the galaxies, and not by meager understanding of ignorant people like Einstein. Because if we go by his say-so, man will never develop. Man can even imagine beyond it. If you look in the total understanding of the knowledge of your own soul, and look at your understanding of the even small magnet, you will understand mankind should have understood this principle centuries ago. But through religious dogma and so much jealousy of the others, than somebody understands more of them than them, we have blocked many, many new understanding of the reality to add up to our own strength, to our own knowledge as a human race. if you look, if you understood, if you can see the totality of the work of a magnet and the soul of the man, there is no difference. One is dimension of magnetic field in the matter state, when the plasma condition of inertia. One is magnetic gravitational field strength. And in so many ways, if I draw you the shape of the head of the man, you will see the same. In the brain of the man, the physical connection with the hands and arms and whatever sits on the fringes to the matter state. Arm and strength to the center. When you have a stroke, this is fingers. This is your upper, lower hand and arms. So in a solar system or in a magnet gives us a very good indication, even in the soul of the man. On the fringes of your soul, energy, you deal with the weakest in the matter state, physicality of the man. In a bigger strength toward the center, you deal with the position of the interaction of the soul of the man with galaxies, with other souls. And then if you can find the strength of the soul of the center, this is the line to the creator. In a way, we say in every man, in every soul of created things, there is a line, strength of the creator. And this is how it works. Then we understand where the physicality of the man is the same. The media we use to transfer energy to the strength of the physicality, what we call the transition time in the body of the man, we have called brain. In the soul of the man is more or less completely the same tool. And at the interaction of the fringes of physicality and the plasma, man controls the physical dimension of his existence, we call the body of the man. In time, when the scientists develop the same system, they will see the same in the magnet. And for every creature, everything exists in the universe, there is one cell responsible for it, that in totality, how this responds to another soul, everybody else adopts and adjusts, even to the feeling of the creator. The pain by the creator. And in that respect, to just that pain, mankind has been gifted a new messenger. And when the man understands this, the humanity, the soul of humanity, will move by moving one of these cells to a new position to bring comfort and opening of that jam jar, as I explained in the beginning. Now you understand. Now, from now till the Tehran conference, from now till coming into understanding of the totality of the knowledge, mankind have two choices. We go on a track of war, or we take the lead to understand the new knowledge of the magnet, plasma of the soul of the man, or be it the plasma of the creation of the Creator. Then the new job for the world of science
Hello, Mr. Keshe. I think we lost your connection there, your voice.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you now.
And then, if the man can understand this, man has entered the dimension of realms of man of universe. In the realms of understanding the creation and condition of the creation. When mankind comes to build the new system, the new flight system, those nations who sit on the path of peace will achieve flights. Because the soul of the plasma of the system they create understand the purpose, not the hidden agenda, which still has access to its thoughts and understanding. Is to understand is the position. To be afraid is the weakness and reduction in strength of comprehension. And if we understand this, we come to it. We've seen this in the human race. You've seen this in the very past few days. We've seen in the behavior of the world leaders. And we've seen in respect to the man, in respect to the leaders. Because we feel and we know their souls, but we allow them to be. We put our own self-interest ahead of the totality. And the space technology and development of the space development of the plasma will not allow this. Man will not take into space, into universal community, till the totality of the souls of all beings on this planet agree on peace, agree on collective working together. You will understand this more and more. Nations which are truly peaceful will take into space very rapidly from now on. Nations which the soul is to stop the suffering of what has been forced on them will take up first, because they know the value of peace and education and understanding the knowledge of the creation. It's a gift a man gives by his soul. And by soul of the collective, not by the word of collective. As we know, man speaks different through the word of his mouth than the action of his soul. Then what becomes important in the new space research development is very simple. To develop technologies very rapidly, to understand the strength from the soul of the man to his center. The strength of different dimensions in the work of the universe. The space and dimensions in the work of the galaxies, and understanding the transmutation of the fields, not to matter state, but to plasma of the energy states. Then, if you understood this, we come back to one point. Give me time. You are in one galaxy, in one part of the universe, and your sun in another. Zero time. We meet for lunch with a cousin somewhere together in another point of the universe. This is not a dream. This is now for man to understand and to achieve. Man collectively put all his energy to clear a nuclear bomb to kill the others. Now man can do the same with the dividend of the peace of the what we call collective consciousness, can achieve this in no time. And the teachings from now on will be in that essence. I brought you in the knowledge that you started with the ganses and the balls. Now the ball is getting bigger. Now you have to understand which gans, which field takes you where. Now you create the ganses. Now you have to understand the operation and strength of each gans in the environment which it works, that it allows you to reach to the creator or the sun or create energy or zero time, understanding of another soul in the dimension of physicality. We hype up, we step up to the next level of knowledge. We came from matter to energy and energy to matter. Now we have to understand which line of the energy lead us to teach matter. Lead us to what condition, lead us to where to understand more about every dimensions we need. Instantaneous education of the full knowledge of the universe in the position and the direction which the man needs. And we've seen this, the mayhem man gets himself to itself in the past 2 weeks in government of China. Chinese leadership has become a shamble in trying to control a simple virus. Incompetence in management shows itself across the nation. Because the leadership, if understood this, would have prevented it instantaneously. But man is in the grip of pride and possession. Until that point, man will go. It's very interesting when you read in the press, Mr. Gates has put 100 million to support the virus in China, where he earns billions on spreading the virus in China. This is being aware of the soul of the man. The reality is nothing can be lied to us anymore, as man has accepted too many lies. And if you understand how to lock into the soul, to the line of emotion, people like Gates will not exist in the stage and the development of what they create for physicality. Maybe the man has a hidden agenda, but not the soul. Many of you have come, understood, touched, and some of the Universal Council members I see developing to that direction, and some of them through the false understanding, misguiding themselves. Some of you who have learned in the dimension of creation of this contact and soul with those who choose. In the work of Universal Council, we will say, I wish, and I wish your wish, and I wish, wish. But what, if you understood what's taught today, is very simple. Trump is a white man with English language. He is the responsibility of the English spoken Universal Council. When you support through your soul the connection of the wish of the Universal Council member to change the soul of the Trump, you'll never reach. It means you have not understood. You reach by strengthening the soul of that member. Because you understand, as the points of the universe, you are connected. You took a commitment to be a member, to support in time. And then you'll understand, if you understood this process, the wish, if it's the true wish of the Universal Council member of English speaking language, will translate into removal of the president. This is how you change the world leaders in the future, not by elections, but by clarity and understanding of the totality of the collective consciousness. This is why we created the universal language as a universal council, because you're all part of that brain structure which has to work through one. Collective creates a bigger mass of the fields that can remove. If I wish the removal of President Trump, it'll be done by tonight. But he has a game to play. And we need him in that point of destination. Soon you will understand. We saw him by cheating or whatever going through the voting last night. But he had to be there because we have to have him where we want him, the way we want him to achieve world peace. This is what we work through as outside connection. We leave the man to learn the inside connection. You are that earth which moves a little the sun to be able to keep your position. We are the outside which make him to vibrate to the position we like. You got to understand the teaching of the Keshe Foundation is a collective teaching, and it brings everything together in all directions. But we teach in bits, in step by step. then you understand life is simple. It's the man which has not understood the totality by questioning himself. The missing link is mankind, his own understanding of his own creation in all dimensions. Now, those of you who have understood this, brings you back to one point. Where would you like on this board to be? In the line with the Creator, or in line with your son and your cousin, or in line with Universal Council? And then something comes very important, that is, what is your role? What is the role of your soul in all the structure of the creation? Do you need to clinch onto the intermediaries of prophets, mullahs, priests, and the rest? Or have you matured enough to find the line of distinction and the line and the path of knowledge? As we saw on Tuesday teaching, another magician jumped up. Would we call him the new prophet, or his prophecy became profitable for nothing? I promise you, those of you who can follow him, what he learned in that teaching will become part of his teaching, because now he thinks he learned a little bit more, he can create more magic with words. Any questions?
Good morning, Mr. Keshe. I have a question. I have a couple of questions. This jar of jam you talk about, the top, we have to take top ourselves, or it's going to be taken off automatically? That's one.
He still needs a magician.
And another question, you talk about the being on a like a rope and just like you're moving like acrobats. You said that's why a child can die in a young age and somebody can live for longer. You didn't explain why and how. And second thing is this.
I thought you understood that by now.
Okay, so another thing I want to know, if I understand the plasma technology, I should be able to do the communication, transportation, and all that right now. There's no.
You see, this is still in the dimension of physicality. You want to see it to believe it, but shut your physicality down and see what your soul is up to. You're already doing it.
I understand I am already doing it because I see the result. But my question is with everybody else, is it going to be all at the same time, or everybody's going to be on different page? I mean, different things.
Of course, it's not communism in true sense, is it? It's the freedom of choice of the field. You choose according to what interests you and what is beneficial to your soul. If there wasn't such a choice, And then it would have been one creator on his own.
And Mr. Keshe, in this process, how can we help others? People who understand can help others, because sometimes when
that is something that each man has to reach that point by his own soul. It's in the writing. Independent investigation of the truth. Otherwise you become, because your father was a Muslim, you become a Muslim, and then you become Muslim. He's not allowed to investigate, to understand. Have we moved up, a step up, that we can go further? Or does a man stays Muslim for the rest of the life of this planet and the universe? This is what we put to the world religious leaders. According to them, nothing can change, because if it changes, they have no power. If they accept that the time is for the maturity of the man, then there will be none. And at the same time, you have to understand, most of those who are in the position of power in the religious sections, which controls the soul of the man, they got their hands in so much criminality and wrongdoing that by them stepping down and it comes up, they know they'll be done in the ground. The denial of the new change is to save their own neck from what can happen to them. Is not out of the fear of man to succeed. Does not matter which path, what you call yourself. Be it the political leadership, be it religious leadership, be it in any other kind of leadership. The biggest fear of Vatican now saying that Christ will never come back because we've done so much bad that Christ help us. What we're going to do if he comes back? Would it be the only solution, as we saw with Japanese samurais, with a sword and a knife kneeling in front of your own soul to submit? Or would the mankind forgive? Or at least start a new cycle? As you hear, a lot of things are happening because we have raised the level in a different direction. You heard about situation in Belgium. A king has lied to his nation for so long, but the worst lie has come, that in confirmation has caused the heart attack of the Queen. The Queen very recently had to be moved from Venice back to Belgium because of a heart attack, accepting the husband has been there. What is done now is she's got to accept the daughter which she had nothing to do with. The mayhem and turmoil in Belgian monarchy is beyond belief as we see it, and we get reports on. A queen wants to kick the king out. How many more you have, I don't know. Who else you've been busy with? Read. Very recently she was moved from Venice out due to a heart attack. They bring their own demise. This is what will turn. This is what sits in reality with a lot of these people. World leadership has to come with the leadership of the soul of the man alone, and no one to dictate to it. And not jumping into whatever brings you. I was talking to Caroline this morning. I spent most of my business life in a very different way in the oil business. And every day as a major oil buyer, we used to get offers, millions of barrels, millions. We knew it doesn't exist, but everybody was in offering because they knew you have facilities that you can buy and sell and refine or whatever. And everybody was in the oil business, millions of barrels. And since past couple of days with the situation in China and people knowing our contacts in China, now we're getting the same millions, but now has becomes face masks, not oil, because it doesn't matter how much oil you have, you die, it's no good. Now they're dealing with fake, non-existing face masks. 100 million, 10 million, it was like 100 barrel, 100 million barrel of oil, 1 million barrel of oil. And man just changes because he doesn't want to face the reality of the totality. And it was very interesting to watch these offers coming to us. Mr. Keshe, you have connection with the Chinese government. We can give you 2 million. How much would you like to pay for it? I said to Caroline, you remember my oil business. You see the same thing. It's just the barrel has changed the face mask. Burning it to saving life. Hoping. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Is the generosity and wisdom of a man and a nation. Not abusing the power, but still being in suffering, helping those who created your suffering. This is the true man. This is a true, what I call, being to exist. When you can help those who created your suffering to reduce their pain, then you understand who's the true man. And we have seen none in the world leadership, except one. And one day I tell you who, which nation and where and why. Now they have to live in the world of their shame. Putting, serving, and that is the serving is very simple. Is this what I told you? This is comfortable with me, but this has caused pain for me. Shall I give enough to elevate it that his pain and me helping because him to find a new balance in respect to the soul of itself and respect to me? Don't look for others, look inside yourself. Through your soul. Then, if even you understood the teaching of today, if you look at every single page of this screen, I have shown you 0 time communication, 0 time transportation, 0 time conversion, 0 time transmutation. This is a page of the knowledge of the universe. First time open to the man for man to see. As I said, the question mark is the man himself. Then you see the picture is complete. We have not understood the work of our soul. We have not understood the work of the soul of the planet. We have not understood the soul of the universe and the rest of it. That with it, we might understand the work of the soul of the Creator. We have damaged the soul of our own Creator, which is the planet. And we expect to move up. We have caused suffering for the soul of the children of this planet, which is other men and creatures. And we still expect to go up when the jam jar top is going to open. Has the man made the jam without infestation and bacteria that when you opens doesn't contaminate the rest, not let alone getting into the jam jar. We want more and more, but we don't understand even what we have less. Greed of the man does not go only with his physicality. It tries to get it into the dimension of his soul, but it doesn't work. But at the same time, you got to look inside what you've done that brought you to that point. As I just said, the queen had a heart attack, stroke. But has the queen told the king she played out when he was busy playing out too? Then we see if the king will have a heart attack. But the biggest heart attack comes when the second child, the second hidden child, and the third hidden child will come on the plate in cash court cases in the European Court of Justice. Because these are part of those who touched the foundation. I knew through my soul. I had to take the time because everything, all the connections has to be made to be right for the time and the place and position. As I told you last week, very simple. We know a lying king, which is lied to his nation with a daughter. We know there are one more boy called Mr. Grava, Mr. de Grava. We know this touches the soul of the queen, but the queen has a child from another man called the King of Persia. What heart attack he's gonna have when he hears he nourished another man's child and call him a king. But the thing is, he has already given a DNA as a civilian, and any document in civilian court is a public document. We can test these very easily now in the court, because this man has played with the Keshe Foundation. Now you can see the end of the kingship. Now you understand what was hidden. Does not matter if they eliminate him, his documents and his saliva and his blood test is public court document, and we can call upon it. And she's a civilian, we can do the same. Then you understand Why there is so much opposition from the Belgians and the Iranians and the rest? Because this boy, the king, wants his brother at the throne in Iran. Now you understand why Keshe Foundation ever came to be in Belgium. The plan to get rid of kingship in all dimensions. Man's king has to be his soul and the correct conduct of his soul. And not be king by murder, rape, and abuse. I can draw you more about other world leaders and you will understand how we got the whole. Tehran conference is not just a peace conference, it's end of kingship, end of one man's superiority in soul and power of physicality. You will understand so. Because now we go back to a very simple thing, which sits here. We have already made all the matter states and the human souls ready for the time. Because each one has connected to every single soul on this planet and those suffering man has created in the universe. Now you understand more. We took man of the earth into space and we saw them carrying on with the same criminalities in the distance. So we came to clean up the mess from the source. 6,000 years is nothing, but the man is a life history. Putting the same soul in the name of Christ, Muhammad and Moses and the rest is the game man likes to play and be happy with. But in essence it's the same soul. This is where he said very simply, I'll see you in 622 years and I'll see you in 1200 years and I'll see you in another name in 1,000 years. Because he's the Father and that soul has dictated where he's going to be. Nobody needs to tell you, I'm going to see you in the restaurant tonight and there'll be another man when I see my son in another restaurant tomorrow lunchtime. It's just me in different positions because I have decided where to be. And this has been the same with the soul of the, what we call in essence the true messenger. He has appointed the time and the day where he's going to be. And then he'll call it the verses and hadiths and chapters. If he decides to appear in the dress of a clown in one and a suit of business in another, it's his problem, not yours. He appointed the time and the place. And now it's time and the place to wipe out all the mistakes of the past. Because he has decided and no one else. See him as a fire and the lights and whatever is his decision. How he entertains at the time of the presence. Any other question? For those of you who listen to the situation which is going on in China and the spread of the virus, Keshe Foundation has developed the machinery to disinfect in mass, which means should be no worries to no one. The machine has already been very simply done and will be released to the Chinese government sometimes today. And if and what we see, the incompetence of leadership in China carries on the way it is, and so many people suffer. This technology will go through the what we call the Iranian government to all the nations around the world. And in conjunction with our manufacturing base in Austria, we support the technology. This is to stop every infection to enter or goes, and as we see, this is a selected virus for the Chinese blood only, and the only system which can overcome the modification which is sponsored by Rothschild family and the others to develop this technology and assess its damage through MIT will be overcome. And as I said, this is a tailor-made this virus, and we have to be on top of it, and it has to be in so many ways. Once they change the tailor-made, who's the next victim? Rothschild and Rockefeller and Gates Foundation sponsor this disease, this virus, with not knowing that the Keshe Foundation has developed a technology for viruses. It's a shame so much funds has gone into it. But on the other hand, it's a pleasure to see that we can be tested. If you get hit or your nation gets hit by this, just advise your people to speak to, if they don't want to speak to Keshe Foundation, to the Iranian officials which will operate through the Keshe Foundation's contacts and operation. Those who boycotted and brought suffering to the nation of Iran will beg for the life of their nations, not to be boycotted by their own lives. And as I said, there is one nation who will respond, and that will be the Iranian nation. Doesn't matter how much suffering we've brought by other nations in past years, still the door of knowledge and technology to overcome this position will be handed out and given by the Iranian government to those who created the boycott, out of fear of their own, what I call, misfortune. Distance peace. At the moment we cannot help China because the Chinese leadership is in turmoil of who is going to lead more disasters, and they have to sort that out in themselves. The incompetence has led to more suffering, and that's their problem. But outside China, because this is tailor-made with the Chinese gene, now we'll move next out of China next year, maybe sooner, into Russia, into Arab, into every other thing. What we've seen with the American virus, what you call it, injection, is actually gives life for 3 to 7 days, and then patients are dying with suffocation, 20% oxygen in their blood. And what the government is doing in China, it says temperature is going to go home, and the statistics of those who die after 2, 3, 5 days in the house is not considered as. The total death toll passes millions at the moment in China. Is that drastic? Because they only count who dies in the hospital, not those who said they've been given the injection and they die at home due to lung failure and lack of oxygen. A Trojan gift by the American administration or what we call Rothschild and Bill Gates organizations and the rest of it. If you look at it, we give 100 million to the Chinese for the virus. That 100 million goes to buy the American injection, which we will made to kill more, that we can make more. The game is so dirty. Technology overcoming the virus. We taught you the cup of life. Now we have developed mass production systems to clean up environment, hospitals, ports. All you need to do is literally to walk through a tunnel. You breathe. You see this injection they give for the fever, it sorts out the fever. But this disease sits in the lung. The lung of the man collapses. And then they get rid of the fever. But long term, the lung is damaged, you die at home. And this is not considered. This is very much the trick they played with chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is successful, but it doesn't say it kills you with a small infection 5 years down the line. Because of effect of chemo. And we see the same thing with these injections from America. Because yes, it's a paracetamol and a bunch of other things mixed up together. What we asked and we request from the World Health Authorities, which is run by Rockefeller organization, and as a private game, very simple. We request the following. The amount of mercury in this new vaccine. We want to do the amount of copper, zinc in this vaccine. We want to know the combination which is used by phosphor to affect genetic deformation. This is the responsibility of MIT to give us, because they tailor designed this virus. There is a certain amount of lead which is used in this. We want to know. There is a certain amount of aluminum mixture is used. We want to know. Any organization in the world who can get hold of one of these vaccines and give us the Raman spectroscopy, as we have the Chinese government, will give us indication how they've tailor-made to kill. Don't forget, mercury was part of the 3M injections which brought so much problem for parents. Now they have added it in a way and loaded it up to the virus. This is how this virus is killing, and is so bad. Because this part is connecting to the muscle tissue, this part connects it to the lung. You will see when the analysis of the injections from the American comes out and the virus energy levels. We are 100% correct. They create genetic defects, rapid what we call genetic defects in the lung, and that causes the death. I know how they made the virus, and I know how they're using the antidote to kill more. MIT, as I said in the teaching last night, has to be closed. It's become the center for planning mass murders in the biochemical and bioplasma technology of the virus. I raised a red flag on MIT years ago, and it stands much stronger with this virus. Because even the study of how many people will die by using it 3 years ago is done by MIT. They even forecasted how many. According to open studies, 60 million. According to uncontrollable studies, 600 million. I said to the Iranian, it's a very nice time to play the game, but we don't play that game. You want the technology to look after you, break all the sanctions, and then we sanction you for you selling arms. Let me explain to you, those of you who don't know, I know many Iranians know. The only more or less masks which can stop at least the size of the virus to cross the masks is a mask made by the Iranian scientists. It's called as a nano mask. There are about 14, 15 of these machines across the world. And it's developed by the Iranians. Germans did the original one, but mass production now in size is by the Iranians. And if you go to the news, the Chinese Prime Minister and what we call Foreign Minister Diplomatic, calling Mr. Nazif some 48 hours ago to guarantee that, thanks for the Iran support with the virus, was to make sure that the Iranian factory masks in nano layers are shipped to China directly because they cannot meet the demand. At the same time, same nations asking for support has put a ban on everything on the Iranians in China and outside. I said, knowledge against peace. I wonder when the Iranians become wise to it. There are a number of these machines in Tehran. There are 6 in China, as we know. And as I said, we boycott you, we don't let you anything, but can you help us to save our people with what you make? No one will do this except the Iranian nation, even helping their own enemies. It's a shame to be a Chinese in that level by the administration. Now you understand. Iranian culture sits by its word. Talk good, do good, and think good. Irrespective of what happens outside, time will change. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, we have a question in the Q&A in the Zoom here from Beat. How do we access the soul of the man? Is it enough to wish for it?
Caroline disappeared yesterday to a meeting to meet a veterinarian. And she came back and she was so excited. And is she on the line? Let her explain. Then you understand. I think that's the only way I can answer you. Do you see Caroline in the background?
I do see the name on the list. Carolina, can you access your microphone? Can you hear us, Carolina? Well, we're not getting a response yet. perhaps there's some interaction in the background going on, and we'll see what the results are.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes. Okay. I switched my microphone off if Caroline was there to speak, but she's not there.
Okay.
As I said, Caroline met with a veterinarian specialized in horses, and she came back. She was very excited. She says, the veterinarian says, when I raise my hand in front of the horse and say, I wish you heal and help, and they change. And Caroline says to her, because you have found the strength of the soul, you strengthen the soul of the animal, and through that he finds his own, wellness. So you have actually understood the soul of the horse. You understand, you create that condition with it, through your soul. And she says you should have seen how happy that veterinarian was that he was not, or she was not aware of her own capabilities. We've seen this with another man in Belgium, a very well-known international, he's a physician. And he does that with a horse. He's well known by the Arab nations, by all the Arab world leaders, horses, when they have a problem, they call him in. And he does that. I can't remember his name. He was one of the 4 physicians who were appointed in the recovery of a coma of Nila. He's an amazing man. He works through his soul and his emotion. And he reaches horses the same way. Through touching them. It transfers. He understands the work of the soul of the man. A very nice guy, a good friend. Unusual for Belgians to be called friend, but he's a very good friend. He's very knowledgeable. Any other question? We can reach any soul because all the soul of created things have a link by dimension and connection with us. How many times you walked into a position, my God, why am I here for? What made me to be here? And then you see the results. Because the souls organized you to be there for you to see that thing. Or to experience that thing. And then you think, I've done it. No. Partially, as I said, your soul guides you and your physicality rides you. And you is something in between non-existent and existence, what is called the man. I explained this in a very scientific way very recently, and I try to explain to you, you will understand maybe this way too. If you look in the structure of a nucleus, this is the field barrier, not a physical. We don't have a physical position in a nucleus. You'll find out there are many what we call protons. We have many equal numbers of electrons. But the accommodator and holder of these two together is those who world of science never understood and we call neutron. It's the neutrons with their non-existence which create a condition for, in a way, these connections to stay, if you want to do it the other way. Without them collectively connecting to these, everything falls apart. Each one will pull its own electron apart. The neutrons are there to balance it, even though they look non-existent. This is the same with those we don't see, your neighbors, the man down the street, the cleaner, the bus driver. The presence of their soul creates the balance in the soul of humanity. And this is what mankind have not understood. Why we need more billions, because we need more of these neutrons that in the future they become the new cells. At the same time, at this moment, they hold the gel of the, what we call atomic nucleus structure together. No creature on this planet exists for no purpose. Maybe it looks in the dimension of physicality, but in reality, in dimension of soul, he's that neutron, he's the glue to keep. You need so many glues to have there to create a condition, to create the leader, to vote, to be Christian, to believe, to create Christianity and Islam and the rest of it. Then you understand. We say, why are we created here? Why do we suffer? It's not a physical existence. It's the existence of that glue of the soul, of their existence. Even the ants' glue counts in the dimension of totality of the soul of the planet. When mankind understands this, then mankind is mature to the truth about the world of creation of his own meager position, let alone then the soul, then the soul of this planet has the same meager glue in the creation of the galaxies and the universes and the rest. At that point, it's just a neutron. But when the energy of this is used and consumed, and this moves to another dimension to become another neutron, this becomes the queen. Then you understand what is the purpose. Then you understand why that soul was put there. Then you understand why mankind's history and life is well set. Man is ignorant to the truth of his own creation, and that's the biggest problem. Is being correct counts. In being correct in time of need counts, because that's when the elevation of the soul comes. Any other question? In today's teaching, I showed you the secret of creation in the line of man's, what you call a physical need, but he has to understand that existence in physicality is a burden than actually a pleasure. But it's for man to understand the separation of the two and chooses the time and the space and the place to convert and go through the transition if he wishes so. But mankind has the same dimension, should be able to return back in dimension of physicality when he feels so. But in so many ways, it's done for fun, not done by obligation.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
I know that voice.
This is Hassan from New York. How are you?
Thank you. Not too bad. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your teaching. It's beautiful how you're teaching in the Persian language.
Thank you.
You have created a huge followers for the Keshe Foundation in Iran with your teaching.
Well, thank you to you. I had a good teacher. I have a question, Mr. Keshe. When the magnetosphere of the magnetical and gravitational, in a way they cross each other, they create a vortex. The sounds and the images that we see in our dream, or the sound we hear in our head, these are basically these vortices or vortex that we hear. These are the cross. We don't hear anything in our ear. And also you mentioned here, we go into that vibration, let's say discomfort. So we go in a way, I think we go more inside to be more comfortable. But how about when the soul comes out? So the energy of the soul comes out to the boundary. Do we hear this vibration, or do we hear these voices more often?
It's always out. It's just after weaker strength, we call it aura. It's always out. It's just how much we reduce the dilution of the field, the strength of the cells of the brain. If you go back into the history of man, a few times we have shown this, but those who've been witness to it cannot understand it. In time and the place, if you understood, when we say the position of the soul of the man, which is literally sits when you eat in your head. In a mythical way, in the Chinese language, we call it fire dragon, which the fire comes out. This is for those souls who matured beyond the physicality, that when they speak through the soul of correctness, because dragons in Chinese history language has a good, carries good with it. So you wait to see what are called the light of the soul. These, and there are still those, some who can reach that point, the condition, this brain creates too much filter. They show the light through their mouth, what we call the fire. The same fire as we saw with Moses. But the Chinese have changed it into their language, into a dragon. And if you enlighten enough that you can see, and you see the physical dimension, the word of the man, the beauty of it is that fire, if he understands, it comes from the soul of the man. And in Chinese theology or whatever they believe in, they transferred it to the fire of dragon. That's the fire of knowledge, that's the fire of existence, of the knowledge of the soul of the man, not the physicality fire as we saw. The Chinese changed it into a dragon. The, what you call, Jews changed it to a fire in a mountain from the bush. But in essence, is the interaction of the soul of the man with the dimension of the physicality. It's just the mythology, and depends. You can even put it in a candle, you can put it in a dog, you can put it in a stone. It's the fire of the soul of the man not the fire of physical burning of the man in the matter state. When I listen to Chinese and they try to explain the dragon, I said, my God, they don't even know the truth. What's the difference? Because in original mythology, the fire used to give a lot of knowledge. But at the present time, in the present, what do you call it, culture, all that has disappeared. As I said, the Father is the same, decides where to be and how to manifest itself in what clothes. But in essence, it's the same. You can extend the soul to become beyond the boundary, but it is already of a weaker strength. You see, it's just when you have a central heating, you put a blanket on top of it to to radiate less out, that you keep more in. But if you take one of the blankets, you get more heat outside. But the heat inside is still the same, you just hold it. And the brain of the man is that blanket. And it's controlled, as I explained before, through the what we call the blood circulation. And the cup of life is that copy. If you look at the flow of the fields in the cup, you will see the same circulation as the flow in the body of the man. With the blood.
How about sound, like hissing sound? I developed this.
It's just, you should understand. Depends how much you get closer, the closer you get to the wind, that higher nose is, isn't it? This interaction, because many people have this position now that they hear this noise, is that they get so close to the dimension of the soul that the physicality moves within the, what they call, inner ear, and the ear of the man. You're expanding it beyond. You're taking the blanket from inside, not from outside.
Interesting. Yeah, in the morning, like at 3 o'clock is more noticeable. During the day, sometimes, you know, it fluctuates.
Yeah, about 3, 4 o'clock is when the position of the physicality from the left changes to right. It's a transition time, and you become more vulnerable to it. It's the time when we dream, or we remember the dreams, or there's a very fixed pattern in dreaming for man. Conditional depends on physical dimension and what do you call it, dimension of the soul and circulation of the blood. Your cycle to repair is between 4 to 5 hours. From one half to keep the other half. The whole body, when you go, so I explained this many times before. When you go to sleep, the body works this way. It's very simple. Half of the body goes to sleep full. The other half does not do. The brain works here and the body is here. The first half depends in some cases, even for left hand, right hand, we know more or less the same. When you go to sleep, this goes to low work to allow repairs. It's just that, you know, we go into the emergency, the repair crew comes in to clean and to do the others. Then, but this part works full, but to support that goes on the lower dimension. Let's say this works from 10 o'clock you go to sleep to about 2 or 3. Yeah? Depends if you go to sleep, shifts to 11. But usually that's why we follow certain pattern, because the body needs to go to repair. And then around about 3 o'clock, the position changes. This goes to repair And this one takes operation to be alert and working. And in that point, you change around about 3, 4 o'clock to 7, 8, you wake up. Both sides have to repair. The side which is used less during the day by habit goes into repair second phase. And this point, when you go through the switch, is when, in a way, the soul of the man allows to be more open. And then in that position, even if you hear the noise, you most probably hear it in one ear. Depends which way the switchover is going. Because now the soul crosses. The Syrians have shown this kind of wave yesterday in a video. It's very interesting when you look at it. It's part of the electronic warfare, plasma warfare, which is running in Middle East, and the Iranian scientists beyond it, behind it, are testing a lot of things. It's on one of the chats. I don't know if there are any Iranian team in there. It's in the Persian chats posted. You see the cloud, and then you see what we call in the cloud, which is there. Inside the cloud, you see waves coming in. It's part of the plasma technology control. But they have managed to video it. It's very nice. If I can send it to Rick, you can see it. It's advancement in technology. Let me find it. I send it to you. You will understand. Where are these people? They're so active.
I have seen it. It's very interesting. The movement.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it's very interesting, but we know what it is. It's part of the plasma technology defense. I try to find it. It's in one of the chats. I try to save it because it has a lot of application and implication. If you find it, just send it to Rick. And it shows. Oh my God. Okay. No, I cannot find it. If you can find it, it shows the cloud, and within the cloud, plasmatic field forces. Iran has started showing the power of technology in a very, very rapid way. They start being ashamed of what they own. They become proud to show how advanced they are. And this has been me fighting with openly with Iranian officials. We should show what we have. And if you understand this, what we call plasma, what you call energy release, it is horrendous what our brain can do with ourselves. You don't need this. You can do it with the body of the man. I can't find it. It's the first time we see waves in motion, and it can be seen in a very, very, very beautiful way. How, let me see, I know a fast way to do this. I cannot find it, I cannot find it. Anyway, Hassan, if you find it, please send it. We can always talk about it.
Right. Yeah, it's very interesting. I have another question about, you were in one of the teaching talking about black hole. When we have a 3 unbalanced proton and then 3 electrons, so they're trying to basically balance themselves, and then the electron outside, they're trying to match with them. So they create this massive gravitational field in a center, so we can create that black hole. But this was a talk about the deuterium, but deuterium has one neutron, one proton, and an electron. Where the other proton came here, was it like from a hydrogen?
Can you repeat? Wait 1 second. Oliver, sorry, Arthur has sent me the video, I think. Yeah. What is, let's try. Arthur, can you send it to Rick? Rick, if you can.
Why can I send it to Rick? Because I don't have Rick's Telegram.
Okay, Rick, I'm sending this to you. How do I do forward? Forward. Where are you, Rick? Where are you, darling? Ooh. Rick. There he is. Rick is coming to you. He's got a Farsi writing underneath of it. But if you look at it, it's the first time we actually are able to see plasmatic field flows. And this is what I explained to you, which was used 3 weeks ago in Iraq. If you are in it, you cannot see. It becomes totally blind. It's a physical, vertical field barrier. Have you received it, Rick?
Yes, I'm just trying to download it here. It does look like it comes from a news agency, but perhaps we can use it.
This is a plasmatic field. And as I said, you can create a pulse of it. And it works. If you look outside in the cloud, we don't see it. But inside, within the cloud, because it's different stages, it shows the compression that manifests itself. But this is how, if you see that shadow, I don't know if it's appeared, it hasn't appeared yet. This is what the Americans cannot get through. It's a blind. And you can rapidly send it and cover as much bigger space. But the cloud allows us to see it, but we don't see it in the open plasmatic. And then if you look at the shape of the cloud, it has a circle in itself, a structure. Do you want to share, or are you still downloading?
Just a second, it's taking me a bit here to
Download it.
No, I've only got one monitor instead of two because my monitor stopped working. So I'm trying to find it where it downloaded to. Just a minute.
Okay. We have to become more aware of the energy than matter. And then this opens up a new dimension in the world of our own understanding of our own creation and many created things.
Okay, we got it lined up here. Just a second.
While Rick is downloading it, I'm going to repeat the other question. Okay. No.
If you look at this video, you will see very strange. For the first time, you see how the magnetic plasmatic fields as a plasma is used. Look at the cloud. Just look inside the cloud and you see it. You see the waves as the plasmatic waves, and what you see as the lines, these are plasmatic fields floating continuously from central plasma reactor. Can cover kilometers. No communication because it's layers of it. If you go back in the teachings before, you see it. You don't see it in the blue, but you see it in the cloud because it shows the compression of it as a plasmatic field. The space gap between the lines does not allow anything to penetrate. This is very much what we saw with what you call it, in the island in Caribbean. And if you look at the space gap within them, they can change it in a compression way of the plasma that nothing can penetrate. You can throw as many missiles as it just prints, it just takes it out. And even if it goes in, the more the higher speed does the same. The lower speed, it changes it to nanocoating. So it's an unpenetrable situation. This is one of the biggest achievements of the Iranian defense technology. This will enforce peace. You can see it as a shadow. This is a compression of the field. And it's on different strength bandwidths of it that covers everything. This is why the Americans could not communicate, and the ground force was literally annihilated. This is how it is. Instead of keeping a continuous dome, they create a pulse dome, and it's there. They decide the strength of the pulse. You can see it very clearly coming up. Different shade of the cloud as it goes through, it shows different strength. It creates a total barrier. This is how I told you we captured the American drones. The new weapon technology is obsolete. And as I said, now that we've seen the Senate situation yesterday, he managed to get himself off the hook because they have nobody else. If they vote him out, who they're going to put as a president next time around? He's the only one they have. He will become arrogant in talking big again, but the limitation will decide very soon by the others than this, what I call the barking. You will see the rhetorics and all those games of past months which reduced that he was trying to keep the Senate members happy. I don't bark till I get through. He did this before, if you remember, in his elections. Once he got through, he says, I have nothing to do with the party, I'm on my own. But they had no choice because he was already in. It's the behavior of the man. Okay, thank you very much, Rick. Can you ask your other question, please?
When you're talking about the black hole, and you were showing 3 protons which were not balanced, and in not balanced, they were basically rotating, and then there were 3 electrons outside. They're trying to match with this proton, so they were creating 2 rotations, and also a massive gravitational field, and which is the same as the black hole. But then the talk was about deuterium, and deuterium has only 1 neutron and 1 proton and electron. I didn't understand where the 3rd proton came here. Or maybe it was...
What do you mean the 3rd proton?
Because there were three protons in the center. They were trying to basically balance each other.
Yes, but the thing is, this is what happens in the womb of the mother, if I understood you correctly. You see, in the womb of the mother, you have an egg and a sperm. They come together, yeah? The 3rd energy comes from the interaction of the energy of the 2. And this now creates an imbalance because it wants to feed itself. It takes energy and creates the other cells by its division. This is how nature works. These 2, when they share, trying to come together, and they're of the same strength, they create this common denominator shell of energy. But this shell is so weak that he tries to feed himself, but these 2 are in a strength cannot match, so he takes from the energy of the womb of the mother. Now it becomes 4. The division comes this way. And doesn't matter how you do it, then when it comes to the point of multiplication in several billions, then it decides I have too much energy which I don't want to do. What I'm going to do? One of the cells position themselves to get rid of the energy because that's the way he finds his position. We call it the kidney. Natural process of physical body is the same anywhere in the universe. A disposable unit, a storage unit, and whatever we call cycling unit, and one central control. I take you on the Mars is the same. I take you to planet Zeus is the same. I take you to Earth is the same.
It's the same what happened with the One Cup, One Life.
Exactly. I have given you, you create for the first time, man creates, if you understood the teaching last week. You are used to having a baby in your hand and call it a creation of yours. I gave you a cup which has life. That's what you create, a soul. I haven't even understood what I gave you. You are used to seeing physical life within a womb of the mother. I gave you a life in a cup. That's what is called one cup, one life. And I said, it saves a life. And you haven't understood exactly what it means. I tried to explain this in the teaching on past few days. This is the cup you carry, and this is your man, and the soul of the man. That cup feeds your soul. Because it has a surplus energy of continuously creating. And that's why you overcome a disease or any virus, because the virus is energy dependent. You're used to seeing your creation coming out of the womb of a mother, a woman. I've given you the chance to see the creation of the soul with your own hand. That it feeds your soul, that elevates your soul. And then that elevation allows you overcome any other energy, which you call it a virus, genetic, whatever you want to do it. The beauty of my knowledge is I know so much that I can make it so simple that this, an infant can understand, and that infant is man himself.
I also have
Pardon?
I have another question if you are finished here.
I never finish. Huh? Teaching is nice to share. Carry
on. Salt, we can use the salt in a way to lubricate, expand, or compress the fields. But I was looking at the periodic table going from calcium to iron, as far as like adding to the atomic weight. I couldn't see a pattern how I can use, going through the periodic table. Is there any pattern that I can?
Yes, this is what I explained many times. I think even one of the early knowledge seekers or one of the youngest knowledge seekers can tell you. Because we had this discussion I think it's one of the teaching channels past few days. I try to spend a lot of time trying to teach whenever I get the chance, explain different questions. And yes, there is a pattern. And the problem is the pattern of your understanding. Nothing else. What is magnesium? In the periodic table.
I don't.
What is potassium? What is calcium? What is magnesium?
Calcium, I think.
Anyone?
21.
Anyone? Mr. Rick Raymond?
Coming up here, just trying to find room on my single screen for the 20 windows I have up. Let me see. You have... Here we go.
Sodium is 22.
Magnesium would be 12 is its atomic number. And
pardon? Magnesium?
Magnesium has 12 as its atomic number.
And the other one? And what is potassium?
Oh.
Potassium at 39,
Calcium?
calcium is 40, and magnesium is 24. Sodium 22.
Rodrigo, was you? I recognize your voice.
No. Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Rodriguez is very well versed by this. And then if you go with the calcium and potassium, and then you go with iron, one oxygen.
56.
Yes, I know. I'll put there 16. The gap is one oxygen.
And then copper, 60, 59, 60, so 63.
Yes, but if you understand the zinc, the next cycle here sits around 72. Then you see the relationship. But this is in a matter state data. In plasma state, you go 56, 10%, 20% up and down. And when you come to hydrogen, it's up to 50% up and down. Here about 15. So if you take 56, even go 12%, you can see you come into the isotopes of calcium. Because this has the same 20% up and down too. And when you have those points is when you see interaction and binding and creation of ion connection with a hemoglobin and other things. I've explained this in one of the teaching years ago. It's a very, very clear, if you work not only with 56, it's a guideline. But when you go with the plasma, as I said, the plasma vibrates. So you have a boundary. The same as I explained, the sun goes up and down by millions of kilometers. Depends where it is here or here. It's got a peak.
But when it hit calcium, it become bone, which is basically closer magnetic gravitational field together, tighter. And then when it hit
yes, but why calcium becomes solid in the body of the man? Does anybody knows why we have calcium as a body of the man? And why does it stay when we die? Man hasn't solved this mystery yet. Why don't we get our muscles left behind? Why don't we get our heart left behind? But bones will stay behind.
Mr. Keshe, isn't it because of we come from the planet Earth, that's part of the Earth? Because Earth is
no, nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that.
So
no, let me explain. Go back to the teaching. Go into the understanding of deuterium. Go into understanding of the carbon-6. Go into understanding of a carbon-6 is a physical matter we see. Carbon-6 in a different dimension is a diamond. Carbon-6 in a different environment condition becomes order. Now, the strangest thing happens that calcium in a given strength sits within the heartbeat of the Earth. Heartbeat of the Earth is around about 7.5 frequency. Yeah? And if you go by multiples of the carbon, it's 42 to 45. And then you see where the iron comes to that range, the calcium becomes bone of the man. It's just happens to be The structure of the physicality to solidify is to do with the heartbeat of the earth, which converts. You saw those waves going through, and you see them as certain what you call plasmatic fields. That's exactly what it does. It's the earth frequency which dictates carbon nearest to its combination, which is the calcium in matter state, which conforms and converts into matter state, becomes bone. You take that frequency, you have no structure. You go further higher. This is why astronauts lose weight in the space, because that frequency is lower and weaker in the strength. Man in deep space will have no physicality. That's why he has to rely on his soul. It just is a gel. The heartbeat of the earth dictates this bracket here, which is what we call the calcium manifestation. Not all the calcium can become. This specific calcium, which carries a field interaction of the iron, allows calcium to be converted into solid state. And that is why the creation of, in every cell amino acid, you have one calcium as a seed. Without it, you don't have life. Even we feel the strength of the calcium in hemoglobin. Those of you who create ganses should have noticed that by now. There's a specific salt content conversion which leads to creation of hemoglobin. And certain combination of it leads to the solid state of the physicality. If you go back to the creation of man on this planet, it came all because of this. Certain combination with the frequency coming from the earth led to solidification in a plasmatic condition of calcium. And accidentally, very much accidentally, at the same time, the same thing happens with a protein coming in, linked up, the hemoglobin. And that became the beginning structure of life. Freak of accidents of the creation. And if physicians, you will see in the systems to come, I can create man with a bone, with a brain, with a muscle, because we know the secret. And when, majority of the time, when the heartbeat of the man reaches a fraction or a multiplication of the heartbeat of the planet, man dies. It releases the soul.
The calcium is the container.
You will understand. Life, creation of life is the same wherever you go if you understand it. You give it the right salinity, you give it the right protein, you give it the right condition of the field, the strength, vibration between the calcium in the waters of the ocean and the iron. As it brings that field strength through the hemoglobin, it's inevitable to create calcium bones. There is no other choice. And then now the structure tries to find out how he can build it, that the Lego of the body of the man or the fish or whatever, according to the salt position, manifests itself. Creation of life is so simple. I can make you man while you're watching it. You don't need a test tube. It's just what soul you want to put in it. This is what I showed to Mark in Valletta when I start teaching him how to create brain. If you understand this, you give me a skull, I give you the man. You give me the skull of Christ, I give you the man as Christ, but go and find his real physicality. It's so simple. If it's done every day in the oceans of this planet, it cannot be that difficult just because we never understood it up to now. Have you ever tried to make a spaghetti with a different length of a spaghetti and thickness, and you say it doesn't taste good or is not the same? Because Italians measure the thickness, the width, and the length of the spaghetti for a specific sauce they create to fit that. When you change the sauce with different spaghetti, it doesn't match. It's the same. You have to have everything right in the ocean, understand it, you can create life. I can create you as many lives as you like, with bone, without bone, with magnesium as a bone, to become carbon as a bone. When I tell you, when you go to a position in the universe, then according to the condition of the position, you create the life to fit that, comes from the heartbeat of the plasma center of the planet. Nothing else. It's a whipped cream. You put the speed you like on the whipper. How do you want it? How thick you want it to get? Very simple. Now, maybe today you understood the secret of your own creation.
Mr. Keshe, continuing on what Hassan was talking about the noise in the head, what about the color?
This all depends what you rely on your confirmation of your own existence. Color, noise, whatever. It's you who's, you see the problem with you, Azari, is you're trying to confirm your own existence continuously, but you don't enjoy the existence you have. Because if you do, you will reach your soul. Chasing it to confirm it has become a biggest problem for you. You go anywhere to find it, but it's when you knew, you don't realize it. Color, noise, different temples, different materials to take or swim in or whatever. Look within, you'll find the soul.
I hope she listens.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Shall we take her passport away again?
Mr. Keshe,
You need, Asad, you need travel to travel with the dimension of the soul, not with the flight of the aeroplanes. And this is what the secret of creation is.
But also there's a problem here, connection with the iron, which made the blood, and that's what made man starts killing, or all the entities in the water.
Yes, because we connect to that same line of this blood with the hemoglobin, with the existence that we kill for. We don't eat the bone and leave the flesh away. We go for this hemoglobin and its conversions, which are added to the copper or the zinc or whatever. And if we understand this, man or animals stop killing. And this is why one of the main things we introduced was creation of the, what we call zinc oxide and copper oxide, is to elevate the soul of the totality. We'll understand very soon. what we are playing at and what we are playing with.
You also mentioned CH3, which actually takes care of the physicality, emotion, because of the connection of the copper and zinc.
Yes, but if you look at what is a CH3, CH3 is 15, isn't it? Yeah?
Yeah.
You put 4 of the CH3 in a structure, what do you get? And it's not only 15, sometimes it's 16, it's a higher energy of the carbon energy. And now you understand why man uses CH3 as a sugar, because it's a combination of either. My students, you're so ignorant of your own creation. That's the problem.
Mr. Keshe, we are trying hard.
If we add one more thing to the CH3, we don't need to eat. And that's the, I mean, I think I found it.
No, that's not it. If you find a link to CH3, it's a different adding than linking.
The problem is the spaghetti.
Yeah, it's a bolognese.
Well, that's exactly this.
You got to keep it in the carbonara and bolognese. Then this way is a vegetarian, that was a meat eater.
Well, if we take all the food that we crave for and we like, and we take the energy of them and add that to the CH3, then the emotion of the texture, the food, and all these things solve too.
Good morning.
I found it. Thank you.
Now you understand. I tell you, when you go to the enhancement, it feeds you, it repairs you, it flies you, it does everything you can imagine.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
I can feel the smile of the soul, Hassan. Joy of knowledge is the most beautiful joy. Azar, you better speak to your brother. You might find a bridge.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, I will.
Any other question?
Maybe Mr. Keshe, sorry, Rick. The soup what Caroline fixed yesterday, it's worked very good.
For who?
Yesterday she fixed a bone soup.
I don't know. We already reached there. There's a story about this bone. The richness of it, it depends what it reaches. Any other question? What Jamal is referring to is we had a marathon session teaching or discussion. It's like a what we call a fireplace talk chat with Wednesday sometimes teaching, and it went for nearly 8 hours, and then everybody gave up because it was too long. And in these teachings or discussions, what we call fireplace chats, we learn a lot, we share a lot, and sometimes we learn more in a informal environment than formal environment. This is literally what we call a grandmas and grandpas meeting, I call it. It's called the granny meeting.
By the way, Mr. Keshe, today in the morning I saw my wife in the morning, and I told her what's happened, and she said, "Thank you." If you think in that way.
At least you're still married and she hasn't put you outside yet. That's good news.
Near enough. Near enough.
Any other question?
There's some questions in the Q&A here from Joel, who asks, says, "Hello, Mr. Keshe. I think we can also create a one cup, one life by using several individual ganzas. If it is right, can you give us the percentage of each of them? Personally, I think I can do it with my soul. Is that right?"
Maybe if I can answer you. When, at one point, the maturity of the knowledge of the man reached the stage we are trying to take you to, but this time collectively. In response to what you asked, you put the copper and the zinc and the water and the salt and you created the soul. Now, if you understood that, and if you understood the discussion of today, do you need that cup, that salt, that copper, that zinc to create that soul? Or you can use the salt as a field of the universe, the copper as a field of universe, and create that soul in the palm of the man to hold. And then if you understood that you can achieve, any of you can achieve, then hasn't that become the Adam and Eve? Then if you go one step further, hasn't that become the creator and the man? Do you need the physicality to confirm the existence of the soul, or can you create that soul in the dimension of physicality? And then the truth comes. Has there ever been a virgin birth? Or virginity, purity comes from the purity of the soul of the man, in understanding the love of his own creation, not the physicality of the birth of the virgin body. Man, as I said, is like the Chinese fire and a dragon, and the mountain, hill, fire, or bush with Moses. You have to understand the essence, not the myths put around it to cover it that you never see and understand. Then it comes, if I have created this soul, do I want it to be me, an image of me, or do I created it to confirm that I can love, that I can nourish, that I can protect? And then it comes to the point of, when I have such a love, when I want to give to somebody else, to another soul, would that soul have the same giving to create another, that between us we create the child of the soul by interaction? And this is how life started. The physical life never started in the dimension of intercourse. The life in the universe started with interaction of the fields of no matter, but in the dimension of the plasma. Then you understand the secret of creation. You need to have a salt. Look at this planet. Salt flows everywhere in the shape of a cloud. So the cup of this planet is the cup. And the materials flow created on the upper atmosphere fall down. You have your zinc and your copper. So you already live within that cup and just need to put the soul in it. Then we bring the souls we are in love with from another dimensions when you travel. When you go from, let's say, Turkey to London, what do? You call your lover, your girlfriend, come over, it's nice here, we can be together. She comes over. And then what you do is so nice. Accident happens, you put too much love in it, there comes another young soul. It's the same. We passengers of the universe carry matching soul with us. We've been in love long before we understood the love of man. Then what do? You bring your love home to give it the physicality to love and to create the springs of springs that it can create a new life. As we say, hello my friend, we meet after a long time. When you go to the airport and you welcome the love, what is it? It's the same love, but you brought it now to be with you. If she's a doctor or a prince, it doesn't make any difference. Arrives as the lover, carries the knowledge which comes with the physicality of the dimension of the soul. Man has got a lot to learn. A man misunderstands it due to the lack of his own knowledge. It's nearly 12 o'clock. I think today we opened a new dimension for many of you to understand. And for many of you to understand what is to come. And for many of you to understand how the end of kingship and leadership is about to come to an end. When you rot from inside, there is no enemy. When you try to rot it from outside, somebody has done something. And this time everything is rotting from inside. Because the phoenix of peace has to fire. Any other question?
There's a couple of questions from Dan in the Q&A. One of them is, by changing the current from the, excuse me, just a second. By changing the current from the decreasing battery we modify, we widen that spectrum of plasma fields in a cup of life. I have a number of coils of springs combinations. Now I have a much wider spectrum. In the cup, I have a palette of GANs with different plasma countries. How do I know how to use only a certain strength?
You created it, you understand it.
You might say, I thought you didn't answer that way. I've gotten to know your answers over the years, and it tends to go that way with these kinds of questions.
You are the creator of it. You got to decide what you have created. Some of the people are reaching yellow gas. Some people creating brown gas. Some of them creating green gas. Some of them creating blue gas. Some of them don't create any blue. They're just a shade of it, and they're all afraid there is not copper in it. It doesn't have this. But these are all strengths in conjunction with the copper you put in. So, but it depends on which strength is added or what it is. And if you leave it aside, after a while they will go green and more reaction with the magnetic field of the earth. Don't forget, the color you see in the gas is the color which the interaction between the plasmatic magnetic field of the earth and the gas creates. This planet creates blue. There you create green. So is understanding this, which is the part of it. If it's a slightly higher energy, till it doesn't give its energy to the level which is the core center of its copper, it'll be different colors. But then it comes green or blue. And again, depends what oxygen rate is it. Are you creating Cu2O2? You're creating CuO2. You're creating CuO3. You're creating Cu3O2. Some of the materials created in the combination in GANs as an energy, you cannot attain it in the theoretical physics and chemistry. But as an energy, they exist. And then as they give their energy to become balanced with the atmospheric condition, then they become green. I thought you should have understood this by now.
Well, some people are experimenting with different, say, different voltages and amperages and that kind of thing. And
have you seen the guy who's boiling it?
Boiling it?
He's put so much current in it that the plates, the water is literally boiling. He's cooking his guns.
Yeah, I've seen some plates disappearing and that kind of thing. And you can usually say, I mean, you probably have a bit too much voltage in the battery there. So people get different combinations, they get different colors, like you were saying. And then at the end, they kind of, I asked them, well, what was your intention when creating this particular cup of life with your own variations on it? And sometimes the answer is just to sort of play with it to see what would happen. And they look for different color changes, and they do note, you know, what the criteria was in the experiment. But is that a pure enough intention, let's say, to begin with, to put into the experiment, is just to do it for fun, or to do it to see what happens?
Fun. God did that and see what he made. Called man, you never see a monster might come up.
Well, this is why I wonder. I mean, on the one hand, we want people to experiment and try different things and just see what happens and have fun and play with it. On the other hand, we don't want people to hurt themselves while they're having fun with it too. So I guess where's the discernment there, and is it just up to
I was
individual?
talking to one of the world leading heart surgeons past few hours, and he said to me, how long does it take me to learn this? I said, give me 3 days, you'll become better than me, because you know the work of the heart better. 3 days, I teach you everything as a heart surgeon. He's one of the world leading heart surgeons. And he was amazed to hear his voice, that with all he knows, he understands there is more to know, and is willing to know because he can help his patients. And These are senior advisors to governments. And then they understand when they're enlightened, there is more, and they carry the government with them, with the new technology. It's like the conference tomorrow in Mexico. We are not there physically, but I think over 12 ambassadors and embassies have announced they're going to be present, maybe up to 15, 20 soon, by the beginning of the conference. And the governments have become open to understand there is a need to go. And this is what I told you, we started with a little in Vienna. Now, when we get to Tehran conference, more or less every nation ambassador will be present. And the amazing of it is, they will accept the condition. And if what I call Ayatollah Khamenei, if Iran brings that transition of bringing the religious leaders to Tehran at that time, we'll have the physical and soul leaders in one room to decide the future of mankind. And as messengers, we are present there to support, to bring the change. Those of you, we have invited many people to Tehran to be ready on a standby. And those of you who want to see, hopefully we can get Giovanni to do it. You want to see Naomi, she's been invited as a guest to Tehran conference. And many, many other Keshe Foundation supporters who have brought change will be present. We just got to see how we get the blondie there. That's the biggest problem. Peace will overrule the pride. The biggest card the Americans played was this card of virus, and now it's under control and will go through. And now even that has been disarmed, and they thought with that they will overcome. And there were plans to use this on the Iranian nation. And now we have unfolded that terrorist activity of the nation again. We saw they tested on Chinese, then that was to bring. But in Iran we are ready, able, and will face it. But the thing is, these experiments sometimes goes wrong and turns back like that missile. And I hope they can take it when the virus changes to American blood. This is the biggest game they started, and they already lost before they started. They became so desperate to win that in that desperation they shot themselves literally in the brain. Any other question? We wish the Keshe Foundation conference in Mexico City all the best tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday. We're there to support their world ambassadors, and in so many ways in the scientific core of the what we call humanity. The head of the Keshe Foundation allies there, which is the most important part, as she's taking over one by one over the responsibility of running the foundation. And I wish her all the best in the support. And as I said, I explained in the other teaching, it's time for us as an old guard of the Keshe Foundation to step down and bring those who of the younger age to take over and guide the next generation in. As long as we are there to support and not dictate. And we'll see the changes coming in. There's a lot of effort put into this, and as we see, the old guard still tries to shuffle the show the power. You have no power if I wish. But this shuffling and powering in Keshe Foundation has to stop by one or two people, because only thing is to wipe it out. This should not be done this way by those who set up to be around the foundation. And we see it, and we have to give support to the head of the foundation. She's one of the most capable people who runs and have managed to run the foundation for the past 3 years. And now we see the rest of it coming in, the rest of the structure of the Keshe Foundation coming in. And you will see more presence on world media by the Keshe Foundation in the coming days as it's getting structured and planned. We have brought experts in doing the work of what they know. And you will see new divisions and sections in the Keshe Foundation, the new sales point, this new sales team, international sales team, which is set up together, the new head of the Keshe Foundation Medical, and more, Keshe Foundation structure is taking global operation. And as I said, we are structuring it in a way that by the end of this year, we start governing, and in a way governing through understanding of the knowledge and technology, as what we call political governing has already did. We'll see what it comes up and how we do, and we wish the Mexico team all the best. And in so many ways, it's a child in growth and development, and is a child which needs to grow on his own strength of understanding of the technology and science, and understanding of the soul of the man connected. Then we go next month to Kenya, and then to Tehran. Tehran conference is taking a lot of time. A lot of people are working in the background in Tehran to make it happen. And we thank the Keshe Foundation team in Iran, which is redundancy, is working to bring everything in line, ready to be for the conference in Tehran, to show the power of the technology, peace, and understanding of a nation who are always led in the path of peace and correct conduct. In so many ways, I was explaining to one of the Iranian leaders very recently. I said, Iran and me gone the same path and we're ending up in the same position. He said, how? I said, the King of Belgium made me a fraud, everything else, and now we see the actual fraud and the thief has been the king who started it to cover his own misconduct. And the same thing was dictated and directed towards Iran to be a terrorist, blah, 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 blah. But in fact, the knowledge and technology now stands on its own leg. The faith of two from the same source ends up to be the beauty. And now we see, and how well done. One of my weakest wishes will be that the Sabah, international Sabah, will be agreed and established in Tehran conference. That the world leaders put control on arms collectively, that no arms crosses. This will be one of the proposals in Tehran conference and the following conferences around the world. And you will see opposition extremely by the Americans, but we have systems to cover this point. We have foreseen it. And in so many ways, it's very simple. Do you want to be a human, or do you want to be an American? Do you want to be a man or a murderer? It's very simple. American nation has to decide how the humanity looks at them, because they never stood to understand how they look from outside. They look so much inside, they believe in their own false fallacy of power. We bring this American understanding of their own, and then the leaders have to follow the way it is. It's time for a woman to lead the nation into peace. And we support that motion heavily. Any other question?
Well, we have a repeated question from Waldemir.
So why do you read it? Go to the next one.
Well, it's I think it's okay, but
Yeah.
in the YouTube, have you read it or no?
No, I don't see it.
He's put it in a few times because I think he wants, I'm not sure if he's joking or not, but he says, can Your Excellency, Mr. President, Chemical Engineer Xi Jinping show the Keshe capture kit in a video?
What capture kit?
Well, I think he means probably the one cup, one life process. I think he's asking
What does that mean?
Xi. I don't know, really. I don't know if it's a joke or if he means.
Do you remember that?
Do you remember?
Do you remember that movie called Mini-Me?
Yeah. Was it called Mini-Me or the?
No, the guy called Mini-Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this soul inside is mini soul. Mini-Me soul, if you call it that way. Do you understand?
I think I'd have to ponder that a little bit. Watch the movie.
You remember the guy Mini-Me was the miniature of the boss?
Yes, right. Yes,
yeah?
yes.
Now this Mini-Me soul of the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Now maybe he's looking to see the Mini-Me of President Xi in the cup.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we call it a day?
I think we better, yes. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Mr. Riaz, thank you very much indeed. There is a lot of knowledge in this teaching. And I think next week, or this week, should be our anniversary. In 6th year, going to the 7th. And I hope it'll be a good birthday for many ways and many things. And please try to understand the teaching of today, all of it more or less. We set up a new course in understanding, and in the future we build on it more in research and development. But we had to put a seed down, the starting point, to understand how to measure individual strands of the fields. And then if we do that, we'll see how we can take the flight of ants into any dimension, communication in any strength. Thank you very much. And I'm sure a lot of you will have a what we call a fantastic time by next week when we meet. As when we meet, will be on the eve of Valentine, and I hope mankind is prepared for that change to be a Valentine for humanity. And we'll see where we come to. Thank you very much. And I hope you understood how to communicate with your Universal Council members, even inside the Council. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay, I'll remind people we do have the testimonials meeting coming up on Monday, and people can bring their testimonials of the various plasma devices or other testimonials that have results that you might have had. And that's always welcome in any language. And if you have a translator so that we can hear the English from it as well. And that's at, what's the time again, Flint, on that one? Or someone else? It's
8 p.m.
8 p.m. CET?
Yeah. 8
Yes.
p.m. CET.
Okay. All right. And I think that's all we have for announcements. Is there anything else that anyone can think of here? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for attending the 314th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, February 6, 2020. This has been a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department, part of the Public Teachings in English. Okay, thank you, Flint, for your work today and for taking us out.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate.
Good morning, good afternoon to you, whenever and wherever you listen to this recording. My name is Keshe, the head of Keshe Foundation, and as a Iranian nuclear physicist, we have developed technologies for space which can be applied and has been applied in China in past few years to see how we can improve the life of people in China, be it in the agriculture, be it for health, be it for production of material. In the past 2 years, when I stayed in China, we tried to show that this new technology can help with viruses. As you know, the African pig swan flu has killed many, many pigs. In the trial, which we were asked to participate in, where 829 pigs were affected by the virus, tested and confirmed. When we entered the process to help, after 2 weeks, we saved 725 pigs carrying the virus. This is one of the most difficult viruses to handle. At the same time, we have participated in agricultural growth in Inner Mongolia and northern part of China, and we have increased the harvest drastically. We have now factories in China, and in that process, we are trying to change and help the Chinese nation and technology and the industry and farming. Today is the Chinese New Year, and we know that a new problem has started for China. The new flu has already claimed many lives, and we know the flu is a virus. Up to today, in the world of science, there has never been a solution for viruses because we never understood what a virus is. Now, with the new technology, we understand what a virus is. And as the new technology depends on plasma technology, we can reduce the effect of the virus energy. What virus does that we understand now is an energy pack which itself attaches to a cell, and it takes the energy from the cell and in that case creates death of the cell and the death of the animal or a human being. With this new technology, what we do, we bring the plasma, which is more or less in this shape you see at the bottom of the cup, near to the cell. And then the virus gives its energy to this material and lets the cell go. And then we see eradication of it. We developed this technology because we are a space program. And in a space, we don't have microbes and bacteria. We have viruses, energy packs, which attach ourselves to themselves. And then it creates a huge problem. And it can cause a lot of death in the space. So we had to develop a technology for viruses.
And now, in this time, China is in trouble with this new virus for humans, and many have died. We introduced this not only to help you, but to help the nation, and in a way to change the course. What I'm going to show you is going to cost you 1 RMB to save your life. We call this the cup of life. 1 cup, 1 life. You can make it at home. Drink only the water, the clear water. Never drink the material. Wash your face with it, wear the mask with it, and then you will see, even if you have a fever, the fever comes down, and then you see the other effects. Then, if we can eradicate all the problem, at least the doctors can help you with the rest of it. This water has been certified, just passed the test that is not poisoning, and is already used in a hospital in Guangzhou for another application by a pharmaceutical company. Belongs to the Keshe Foundation. This is the newest space technology. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to make 1 cup, 1 life. It's very simple. Look around your house. See what materials you have in the house. Something you don't need anymore. Take the wire. Cut the wire off and take the middle wires out. Usually you have 3 wires in China. Take these out and then strip the plastic and cut it about 30 centimeters. You can cut as many as these you like. What you do, you take the copper, take a pencil and just simply twist. Twist the copper around the pen, that you get a spine. Very simple. Now you have a very small piece. You can make as many of these and put them together or connect them together. This is the first part. The second part of this is you take another one of these wires and you twist it very tight, very, very tight. And then this is the trick of the game. This is where you become more advanced than the scientists in Beijing universities and most of the universities around the world. We call it the nanotechnology. I'll show you how to make a very fast nanomaterial. This is a key to your life. This is what saves lives. This is what changes life. In the house, you usually have the Chinese pans. You create fire to cook. Here, I have a torch. The system, very simple. I need this. What I do, I reduce it. We need a high temperature. The copper has to go red. If it doesn't go red, it doesn't work. You put the copper on the fire and you wait for it to go red. As it goes red, you start moving. You start moving very, very slowly till you see it going red, and then you start moving. You see it? If you look, the copper stays continuously red, and then you carry on very, very slowly, very, very slow. You keep the copper in a red color. It has to stay red. And then, you see it? You come all the way, very slowly, very, very slow. You come to the end of it. Some of the wire might bend, it doesn't matter. But we go to the end. Make sure everything has to be black. You can't have any metal. Just watch. You see it? It goes red. The other part is a little bit left. You go red. Let it cool for a few seconds. And then when it cools down, you do exactly as what you did before. You take it, still hot, and what you do, you place it back again, the same as on the pen, and you twist it around the pen. You'll find out you find some pieces already opened up. It doesn't matter. This is good. And then you follow it till it's totally finished. And then you push it back and bring all the wires together that they stick. There is nothing staying out. Now you have another spring. Look. Okay. Now you have one which is natural, one which is nano-coated. This is the edge of technology. Now you need something else. In all the homes we find batteries. The batteries which they carry zinc or zinc material. If it's a metal one, is no good. You can put a magnet on it and it sticks. You need a piece of zinc, or you can find a piece of zinc from the roof or from anywhere if you cannot find a battery, but it's usually in the batteries. You get it and you just fold it. Now what we do, we get a cup. That's what we call it, one cup, one life. You hang this one on one side. You hang the other one on the other side. And then I recommend you to get a hard piece of wire and turn it to this shape and hold it, put it on the top. Now you have made yourself a very simple system. You need to hang this on the middle. There we are. When you hang it like this, now you place it in the middle. As simple as that. Now we move to the final stage. As you know, we need to connect the three pieces together. You need to connect the plate to itself. This is from your battery, or you have it a zinc from somewhere. Then you connect the middle part again on the leg, very simply, to another piece. Then what you need to do, just make sure it's tight, very tight. And then you place it back in the cup. Then the third wire. What you do with the third wire is very simple. You connect it again to the bottom, to the end of this wire. Then just twist it that it stays tight, bring it back and hang it inside. Very simple. Now you have, I show you, 3 wires and 3 pieces. What you need to do is very simple. You can do one thing. You can, to speed up, to make the material very fast, take an old battery, very old battery, not much power in it, and connect the 2 outside together and get a tape, a simple tape, and connect this to the top of the battery. That's all you need to do. Just make sure you have the tape and you have this, and you connect it directly to the top. Make sure it's tight. You get another piece of tape and you connect the bottom to the center. Of the battery. So now we have a system. You have the two wires. You have to make sure none of these touches. But this process, a cup of life of man, 1 cup, 1 life, needs water. This water, you take a tap water and you add salt to it, cooking salt. You add about 15% for 1 liter, 150 grams is good. And you stir it till it's fully done. Then, now you start saving your life. Just fill it up. You don't need to do anything else. Just fill it up to the top. Leave it. You'll start seeing bubbles. Make sure everything is inside. And if you look, already bubbles start coming up. What are you going to get? A water like this. You see whitish greenish material goes to the bottom and you get a very clear water. You never drink or touch the green part. You just let everything to settle. When it's clean and clear, you drink about 100 ml, 200 milliliter of it. And then you wash your face and you wash your hands with it. And then most of you at the moment, to the fear of what is going to happen, you are wearing these masks which you put in front of your face, or a tea towel, or any towel or a piece of cloth. You wet it with the same water and you hold it and you put it in front of your mouth. You breathe as much as possible every day. You just wear the mask. And then you have to make sure that when you make the fresh water will be salty. Try to wash the salt off. You wash it, you let it settle, you put more water in it, you let it settle. And in that process, you go as much as you like. When you emptied, when you took this material out of the bottom, you can put more salt water and keep it going. It keeps on producing. You can give another cup to another friend. You can save another life to your neighbors and keep on producing and teach them what to do. And then what you do, you keep on filling it up. You drink from it, you let it settle. You keep on drinking, washing your cloth, washing your nose, washing your face, your head, and keeping the mask continuously wet in front of your mouth. So what you can do on the other hand is, as you're walking around the town, just carry it, put the water in a spray, and just spray it on the cloth on your mask. That's all it does. You see anybody says, I have a temperature, give it to them. That's all it does. It saves a life with just one spray. This is a space technology. It looks very simple because we made it simple. You got to understand, this technology is very advanced on the other hand, where very soon you will see these machines where we'll do the same in more effective way, made in China, will be exported around the world. I brought this technology, 1 cup, 1 life, because every life has to be respected. And I love to be part of the Chinese community to see that the new year becomes a pleasurable year. This is my gift, the gift from Keshe Foundation to the Chinese nation. Use it, understand what you're doing, and give a cup to the man. Teach the man how to make it. Once you learn this one, if another 5 years, another 10 years, there is another virus, that's all you need to do. Just make a very simple system. 1 cup, 1 life, less than 1 RMB. It's worth testing. And then teach it freely we have opened a website that in this program you see it at the bottom. You have a problem, get in touch with Keshe Plasma China at 163.com. You can be helped there, and then we can teach you how to do it and teach the others. It doesn't take long. If you leave it for about half a day or so, you will start seeing the material appears, and that's all you need to do. Thank you very much. A happy new year. I hope you enjoyed the gift of life which I've given you as one cup, one life. Thank you.